Hi, I'm David Norris and I'm serving up the perfect podcast, Pompey Platter with Russ, Daz and Haz. Play up, Pompey.
He used to be a waiter, did David Norris. Well, he's served up the perfect cocktail here.
Jarrett back to goal, Lang. Needs a bit of help. Goodness from Lang. What can he do? Still there, Lang. Lang! You wouldn't believe it! Cross comes into the near post. Headers into the net! Shaughnessy! Surely Pompey are heading for the championship! Portsmouth are promoted as League One champions!
Welcome to Pompey Platter. What's that on your house? It's episode 28.
That is right. It is episode 28. Magical Bishop. Magical Bishop makes Leeds fall apart again. Welcome. That was a little intro from my 2-year-old son. We thought we'd have him to introduce because he's probably doing it better than any of us would ever do. So welcome, good evening and good morning whenever you listen online afterwards. As ever, I am joined by Daz and Russ. Good evening, boys. How are we?
All good, all good.
Yeah, not bad. Just about got over last night, so we're all good to go.
What's your boy's name?
Finley.
Finley. Yeah. Thank you, Finley.
Good lad, Finley.
It only took about 10 attempts to get that done.
Did he swear?
No, he didn't. So we will, as always, we have a few matches to discuss. Some good, some bad. Pompey's Jekyll and Hyde were back again. So first of all, we will start off with a positive review of Leeds at home. Then we go on to the more dodgy result of losing 2-1 at home to Plymouth last night. Then we will have we did it last week, but we will do another kind of preview of Preston. Now, we've had 2 games and they have had as well. So we've got a kind of bit of an update to our Preston preview. Then we will have Haz versus Daz. We will have a Harry's Who Am I double edition. And then we will have any other business. So, who shall I go to first? Let's go Russ. Leeds. How do we feel? That was just kind of, it just felt like nothing was expected of us at all. And we just went out there and showed that on our day, we are fully capable of competing with the very best in this league.
I think that's the first time in about 20 years that it kind of gave me that sort of Pompey underdog at home, Fratton Park magic on the telly against the likes of Man United or a Liverpool, whoever. And then the crowd would just make it such a hostile atmosphere for the opposing team that they literally fall apart. It was one of them games. I said it a couple of weeks ago on the pod. I fancied us more against Leeds than I did Plymouth, just because the style of plays. I knew the way we play wouldn't suit them. They're a bit like us. They like to attack teams who sort of kick it around in defence and do it on the press, where we don't play like that. Overall, now and again we do if we have to. And it was just very content the whole first half, pretty much. I'd say they probably just, if it was a boxing match, you'd say they just shaded it just because they had the double chance, where it was one of the moments where everyone around me, at least, was shouting at the referee because so Smith made his save. I can't remember who it was, came running in, and then Smith made his double save. At the time, it looked like he was miles offside until the screen showed the replay, and he realised actually he was nowhere near offside. It just shows what we know. And yeah, he sort of went in half time thinking 0-0. The Leeds fans were dead. Fratton Park was rocking, and I couldn't see anything other than, us at least getting a draw.
That Sorry, I was going to say that was it, Daz, wasn't it? It was Leeds had a lot of the ball, but other than that kind of quick double chance and double save from Schmid, we kind of did well to contain them.
Yeah, I think we did, and also I think when we got hold of the ball, I think we were really positive with it as well, and I think we kind of, as Russ said, like the way Leeds played probably like did suit us at home, and we're up until last night we're like obviously very confident at home. Like I always trust us to sort of get a result because especially regarding the Sheffield United and Burnley at home, there's no reason why we couldn't have come away with a positive result, whether a draw or win. But yeah, they as you guys were saying, great double save from Schmid. And then I think the only other thing that I worried about in that first half was that potential penalty shout, which at the time I thought, from my angle in the back of the Fratton end, it looked so clear cut. I thought,
Did you really? I had no idea there was even a penalty shout to go home.
I saw it and I thought he's just like, it looked like to me that, and obviously now I've seen replays of it, that exactly wasn't the case, but it's because from my angle. It looked like the ball was in front of like Dan James's foot, and Richie's just kicked through his foot and kicked through his leg and cleared it out. Now, obviously, we know that like Dan James knocked onto Richie's like shin and knee, and he's cleared it, and then he's booted through. But I was pretty worried at that point. I mean, if the referee has seen it like that, then fair play to him because he's got eyes like a hawk. But
that's how I saw it when that happened, because that's why I didn't think there was other than I think one player. None of the Leeds players asked for it.
Well,
no,
they
was
did
no
once the
reaction
ball went out.
at all.
They did once the ball went out. I saw about two of them. That's because my first thing is when there's a penalty or anything that looks a bit suspicious, I'll wait to see, because I have a look at some of the other players just to see what their reaction is. If no players go for it, then like it's nothing. But if one or two start going for it, it looks like it's got some legs in it. But obviously, if everyone goes, then it's probably.
But I think they only went after the ball went out of play because that one player made a fuss. Literally only one. And I saw what happened. Richie got the ball. All right, it hit him on the shin, but he still got the ball first.
Yeah.
Didn't think anything of it. Never even crossed my mind it might be. And I thought the way I don't know if it was Sky or ITV were banging on about it was pathetic because it wasn't a penalty. But yeah, I just felt like they were desperate.
If that was this, because they've always favour the bigger team, don't they? And if it was the other way round, I can almost guarantee they'd have said it wasn't a pen. But I don't think it is a pen because Richie got the ball first.
Yeah, it's never a pen. Not
he can't. Yes, it hit his shin, but his leg is swinging. He can't. It's so quick from the time it hits his shin, he can't stop his leg from going through.
No. So and that was it. It was just because it was my angle where I saw it. It just looked like he'd kicked through Dan James's foot. But I'm glad the one the referee didn't see it that way because obviously that's the way it wasn't. And I'm hoping his angle and his eyes spotted what the replay showed.
That's it. So it was a bit different because I felt like in the first half our press wasn't as intense as it has been at home, and we were kind of happy to let them have the ball, but we were still quite effective.
I think that was by design.
I think it was. It was definitely by design, just to kind of let them have the ball and almost give them a bit of false hope of you can have it as much as you like. They had 62% possession that first half.
I also think O'Sheesh was the problem as well. Like I'm sure we get plaudits when we talk about Plymouth, but it's nothing, and it was for not a one to try. And it was one of them games where nothing just comes off for a player. It felt like everything he tried didn't pay off. Every time he tried to press, they just walked past him. And then the switch, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead too far here, to Devlin, for me, is what changed the game.
Yeah,
that was when I felt like we became the better team and were on top.
Yeah, no, I'd think quickly. I was just going to say Pompey only had a couple of chances, really. He had that Ogilvy had the chest and volley from about 45 yards, which went a few yards wide. A couple good crosses from Murphy from some corners, but no one really connected. But
Sorry, quick one. I think it was especially important for us in that first half because the chances we did have, which you just talk about, has that I liked Ogilvy's chance. I thought it set up perfectly for him. It was important for us in the first half to have a couple of efforts and a couple of goes at them to show them that, like, sort of, I know your Leeds coming here, like, we're going to make it hard for you to score, but we also want to stamp a bit of our authority on the game, and I think we did that really well in the first half.
Yeah, and then we just kind of, the second half came along and we definitely stepped it up. The press became more intense. We were a few yards higher up the pitch, as if to say, well, we've got through that first half. Let's go and have a go, and that's exactly what we did. Definitely what made a difference was definitely Terry Devlin coming on. Was about 55 minutes. You just needed someone that was a bit quicker and a bit more dog in him, that was happy to run and keep that, because it's nothing on Oshish, but going from Lang's such intense press where the geezer just runs and runs, Oshish is a very different player, and even though he wasn't exactly doing anything wrong, the intensity's not the same. But when Devlin came on, it felt like he matched what Lang's intensity in the press is, and that's what we needed, just to give some Bishop some help, and Harry in the defence, and making them make errors, which again is what happens. I'll skip to the goal. I know a few places on Twitter kind of going Route 1 stuff.
Oh, that pissed me off.
But
that was Trent Alexander-Arnold. That would be the ball of the century.
It wasn't just a hit and hope. There was actual effort, and it was a considered pass. It wasn't just let's lump it forward. But I wanted to say, actually, the fact that Bishop, we very, very, very rarely see Bishop playing on the shoulder. And I think that was partly why Leeds didn't expect it, because he came on the blind side of what's their centre half called?
Roden.
No, the other one. Pascal Struijk. He came on the blind side of Struijk. And then Roden was expecting Meslier. Meslier came and stopped. And Bishop went.
Meslier was so poor for that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he really was. But Roden and Meslier didn't know what each other were doing, and Bishop went, all right, I'll get in there and I'll have that. And it was a fucking brilliant finish outside of the foot. And it was one of the slowest goals I've ever seen. It
was.
It seemed to take an absolute age. And then it was like, it's hitting the bar, and then it was, it's going to go out. But
when it hit the post, it still felt like it took an ages to roll over the line. In my head, I was waiting
for it to either go out or go along the goal line and then get cleared or something.
It's one of those ones where you're sort of like, as the ball's heading towards the goal, you're like jumping, like everyone's doing the little hops, because obviously you're thinking, is it going in? And then even when as you said, when it hits the post, you're still doing little hops because you're still not sure whether it's going to definitely get in. And then when it went in, I don't think I've celebrated a goal like that for a good number of years. Well, probably the Barnsley game.
Surely, I'm going to say Shot Nessie's goal.
Probably the Barnsley game.
This season.
But it just felt, it felt so intense, and everyone around me, like, even though we're in the safe standing bit, it just, everyone's leaning over. Everyone just went absolutely mental. It was like, I mean, it just typified the whole atmosphere anyway. And I think that's probably why, because the atmosphere was so intense the whole game, that I think once a goal went in, it was the celebrations were always going to be mental.
Yeah,
and that's what I mean by, kind of reminded me of them early Premier League days when, the whole stadium would be rocking. It has that kind of like cup game feel to it.
It did, didn't it? It was definitely maybe not so David and Goliath, but almost. It was definitely us as the underdogs, and we all said that it was a free hit. And the thing is, with these games, kind of similar to the other game, is that Plymouth were the massive underdogs, and as an underdog, no matter how much dominance that team that are meant to win and are on top will always have, as the underdog, you will always have a chance. You will always have a chance. It doesn't matter. Look at Scum versus Liverpool. Liverpool really, everyone kind of went, I went for like 7-0 on my Super 6, but Scum went 1-0 up and went in at half-time 1-0. They took the chance that they got. They still lost, but it's about, as the underdog, you will have one or two chances, and as the underdog, you've just got to make sure you take that chance, and this is what we did. I want to quickly talk about the midfield, because I felt going into it with Gruev and especially Tanaka, they have been an unreal. Especially Tanaka has been really, really good this year in the championship, and Tanaka's probably one of the best central midfielders that there is in the champ. But I felt we fully owned that midfield. DazHarry and Potts were superb. I felt that made a real positive contribution to why we won the league. Because once Devlin came, not won the league, fucking hell, I wish, won the game because once Devlin came on, he just because of that intensity, it just helped DazHarry and Potts.
Yeah.
Well, you know how I feel about DazHarry. You know what I mean? Like,
he's got to be. He's. I would be very, very surprised if we get to Blackburn and they haven't either triggered that option or just given him a fresh new contract.
he deserves it. You know what I mean? Like, he was that player where I couldn't understand the stick he got at the beginning of the season, because it was one of them where you can see his talent. Give him time. I mean, and that's why I don't mind that with players. Like with McIntyre, it was I don't see the talent. I can't see anything about him at all. You can give as much time as you want, you won't get better. But with the likes of DazHarry, it was like, well, he has shown quality. It's just not enough to, get by in 90 minutes or whatever. But if you give him time and fitness, I'm sure if he can play like that for 90 minutes, he'd be quality. And, if I had to put money on it, I would have done.
Yeah, I think that was DazHarry's best game for Pompey, I think, because especially in that first half, he was letting the ball come across his body, taking it on. And as Harry said, with those two centre mids for Leeds, like it's not not really a time and place to do that if you're not feeling confident, because when you're up against two quality centre mids,
Marseille turn.
yeah, and that was it. Yeah, the drag back until I just thought he was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I felt that was his best game in a Pompey shirt, and he's just really unlucky how good Schmid was as well. Because I think for me it was between Schmid, Ogilvie, and DazHarry for man of the match, and yeah,
I also thought Bishop deserved
Bishop as
sharp
well.
man of the match, because he won so much in the air, and he was just a presence, and he really led the line well. He pressed well, especially in the second half. There were so many. Paul was outstanding.
Yeah. Pack was as well.
Pack had a great game.
Yeah.
It was one of them where everyone had a great game. Even the subs, Bramall, I thought was excellent when he come on. Obviously Devlin we spoke about.
Like Yengi did enough. He wasn't on for long, was he? But
yeah. And also Josh Murphy. Like I didn't realise. At the time I was like, why are they giving him man of the match? Like don't get me wrong, he weren't poor, but watching it back, he had a better game than I realised.
Yeah,
they couldn't handle him.
No, they couldn't. And I mean, when you're playing against Leeds fullbacks, it's not like you're up against like sort of the dog and duck. You're up against really good fullbacks.
Well,
so
Junior Firpo was at Barcelona about 4 years ago. So
yeah, and he couldn't get near Murphy. I thought he had a really bad game, especially with that miss and all.
And I thought, yeah, because if you compare to kind of how we played, I mean, away that first game of the season, you look at the likes of Ogilvie. This is when we were like, we are going to be screwed at left back, because Dan James absolutely toasted Ogilvie, and we were really worried, I think, weren't we, lads? We were kind of when we were in that kind of October time and we went through who would we sell. I think we all said Ogilvie's got to go.
Yeah. I agree. I'm the first to hold my hands out with Ogilvie and say,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm glad so. Like even with other players we talked about, you never want them to fail.
Oh God.
But yeah, he would have been the first at my door if I was a football manager.
Sometimes it just takes some players a little bit longer to get used to the intensity and the tempo, and he's actually become a very good, solid Championship left back.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the season we were like, but Dan James probably got past him twice in the first half, He got 2 balls in, and then after that, I don't think we had a peep from him. And it's the same to be fair, for Manor Solomon. Again, played in the Premier League, not a lot for Spurs, but he's on loan from a Premier League. He's got plenty of goals and assists so far this season for Leeds. He's been an impressive player, and Zach Swanson kept him so quiet. He went off after 68 minutes.
So that's Swanson's 3 best games for me now. Is that Peterborough and obviously the Spurs Cup game?
Yeah.
You know, as I said, O'Sheesh didn't do anything wrong, but he was the only one. Everyone else was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah,
and it was hard to give a man a match. And what I loved and I hoped was at the end of the game was I was thinking, Schmidt deserves to do the fist pumps. But I bet he won't because he's a goalie. And then when they did it, I was buzzing for him.
I think it was Pack that threw him into that. I think
it was.
Yeah, and obviously, like leaning off what Has said about Conor Ogilvie, and it was like a point that I'd written down because it was something I was thinking about. Like, because you compare from where you are at the start of the season to where you are at the time. And obviously, our first game of the season was Leeds, and as Has said, Ogilvie got torn a new one, which it didn't surprise me because he was up against one of the fastest wingers in the league. It's his first game in the Championship. It's not really an ideal place to make your Championship debut and try to look good. I think Ogilvie's and how well he's done and how he's progressed is just like emphasises the whole club, like from the start of the season to now, where it's taken us a little while. We've had not a bad start, but we had a tricky start, didn't we? And that's mainly down to the teams who were playing those fixtures, where we've gone from being a side that we're not sure about would stay up to where we are now, where I know we're not safe yet and we've still got a decent long way to go, but I feel a lot more confident now, and I feel a lot more confident in Ogilvie, and you can see that in him as well.
Do you think the start we had after 7 games, the hard running we had, and most of the players just had to get on with it because of our injury situation, that it just improved the likes of Ogilvie and Gazelle and all that because they had no choice but to get better?
Well, that's it, isn't it? You get this hindsight, though, isn't it, as well, I suppose, because like we could have had a really easy start and blown at the water and then kept that momentum going. But yeah, like it is one of those things you think about because, as you said, like if you want to play the Championship, these are the sort of teams you have to play against. The top sort of 8 teams. I know like Leeds and that lot probably a little bit in their own league themselves, but you're up against some top quality wingers and stuff like that for Ogilvie, and there's nothing saying that majority of these wingers in the Championship wouldn't move to the Premier League anyway, because there's plenty of clubs that would take on like the Leeds wingers, I'm sure.
And I think I'm just going to move on a little bit back to Schmid. He made some cracking saves. Obviously, he had the double save in the first half. Then you had Firpo manage to get through, wiggle his way through on another one-on-one, which is something that Schmid is bloody excellent at, really. He had a couple of dodgy one-on-ones a couple of games ago, but majority of the time, we've got a one-on-one. I'm actually pretty confident in that he's going to do all right. And then obviously you had that save at the end from the corner. And as you boys said, as you could pick 5, 6, 7 players as your man of the match, it was just an all-round great performance. The players, the manager, the subs were correct. The subs came on and proved a point. And then we kind of went, well, we need to take what we did against Leeds. We need to take that into Plymouth. And we did the exact opposite.
The problem is, and I'm not, sticking up for the result or anything like that. We should have done better. We just don't know what to do against teams who sit back. We don't know what to do. And the reason why it probably suited O'Sheesh more last night was because he had more of the ball. And he's that player in a game like that can be a difference maker, and he almost was. Because he was the only one that looked like he was going to create anything or do anything.
Yeah, because he had a bit more time on the ball, and because he's that kind of that luxury flair player.
A game like that is the sort of player you want to play because he can, like his goal was taken so well.
Yeah.
Caught the keeper out absolutely. Sorry, I know I'm jumping way ahead.
No back lift or anything on it as well.
But it's just one of them. Plymouth came and did. They came down here to just sit back, foul us, play horrible football. Because they are a League One team. I've said it all the way along. They are going down. Right? They just are. They had two. We gave them two opportunities and they took them both.
Yeah.
Another day we'll probably draw that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I thought we started pretty well, to be honest. Of those first 15 or so minutes, I thought we did okay, and it was after that we kind of started making the odd few mistakes, overcommitting and that sort of stuff. And as I think John Messino said it in his post-match thing, is that if they because they turned up to just frustrate and see if they can nick something. And when you're playing against teams like that, it's important that you can keep the ball. That's fine. You have to be patient. If you get to half-time 0-0, that's not a problem. People might get bored because it's attack versus defence and you can't create a lot. But it's so important not to give them something to hold on to. And yeah, we did that. And to be honest, I actually quite obviously apart from us giving them the ball and then breaking us, I actually quite liked their first goal. I thought it was quite tidy the way they finished it.
Oh, that back heel was beautiful.
Hardy, yeah.
He always has a
but
good game
if you go back to there, it comes back to score. Thank you.
Oh, Tottenham. Have they scored?
Yeah.
You must be a bit ahead of me then.
It comes back to their left back, which I'm going to really struggle to say his name. Puchaks, their left wing back. Sorry if I ruined that.
I'm
Polish
sure you'll
people,
be fine about it.
Any Polish people, I do apologise.
Never apologise.
He got the ball and Richie just couldn't be bothered. Swanson is my issue with Swanson that happens way too often.
Yeah, I agree.
And it happened at Luton.
And
he backs off for too long. He's one-on-one with someone and he just backs off and backs off. You back off for a bit and then you always go forward and engage. And it happened at Luton, and that's why DazHarry got pulled across, and that's where kind of it came. That was the second in line of lots of errors. Again here, he got past Richie, which is fine, but Swanson, he took Puchach took a heavy touch, and I wanted Swanson just to go get in there, just fucking body him or something, just get in there and take the ball. But he didn't. He just kept backing off and getting deeper and deeper. By which point, he was at our penalty box, and after that, it's a great back heel from Hardy, and Hardy always seems to do well against us.
Yeah.
And then once it lands at Bundu's feet, it's just a nice, easy finish into the far corner. And as you said, we go in 1-0 down. You're pretty pissed off, to be honest, because we've had a lot of possession. I mean, we had something like 80-odd%, 78%,
79% at half time it was.
Yeah. So I know possession's not everything, but we'd had 7 shots, they'd had 4. We only had 1 on target, and they'd had 2 on target. Obviously, Hardy's half volley earlier on in the game as well.
Good save by Schmidt again.
Which was a cracking save to get a really strong arm to that and to get it away and not let it kind of go over his arm into the net or anything like that. You go 1-0 down in and you're kind of like, okay, it's frustrating, but, there's plenty of football to play. And then we go and do what we did. Oh, God.
Well, it's in that instance, and as I think we said on the WhatsApp group earlier, because it all of a sudden just tweaked to me that looked very similar to how Millwall scored against us. And it's, we're, what was it? Was it like the 55th minute or something like that? It was only 5 or 10 minutes into the first half, wasn't it?
This was 49th minute, Hardy's goal.
49th. Jesus, I didn't even realise it was that close to that. But it's in that instance, we're 1-0 down. They're not gonna press us or anything like that. In the first 5-10 minutes, it's that you don't need to overcommit, and that's what Pack has done. He's probably gone into midfielder mode and stuff like that, and I still don't blame him for that because it's understandable. And I mean, on Sunday, he did brilliant, and I thought.
To be fair to him, he did that Sunday, but every
catch.
time he did it Sunday, he did it. It paid off.
Yeah,
That's it. It was coming back to Ogilvy inverting. It was almost. You're right, Daz. It was a carbon copy almost of that Millwall goal.
Yeah.
Where Ogilvy comes from out to in and inverts. Murphy comes right out to the touchline.
Yeah.
And it was going to Murphy, but he just didn't get the defender, the right wing back, got there first. And Pack's kind of followed the path in, and by the time he's done that, Hardy's through. And Hardy he's not the quickest, but unfortunately Pack's even slower.
I thought he was quite quick, to be honest, because he was the one who broke on us twice a couple of years ago, wasn't it? And he absolutely fucking just skipped past our lads.
Yeah, but I think he's a couple of years old. I didn't think he was particularly quick, but...
He's lanky, isn't he? So he's long legs, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Pack had no chance of catching him. Paul tries to come across. And I don't know whether Paul puts off Schmid, but Schmid should do better with that. It was pretty much at him, and to let that kind of squirm under him isn't good enough. But
I'm surprised the way Schmidt was gonna. If you watch it back, like he goes down like he's just collecting a ball. Like, there's no attempt of a dive. It was very bizarre. The way he tried to save it. As I said to you boys earlier, obviously you said before about I used to play in goal. He would be livid with himself because that's a really poor goal to concede. Although there's things in front of him that shouldn't have happened, that should never have gone in.
Well, that's it. From my angle in the front end, like, I mean, you can't tell from looking straight down the pitch on how he's beat him. It looked like he beat him on his near post from what I saw, but you don't know how he's hit it. You don't know the position or all the other variables that could mean that that goes in. But when I think it was Tom for 4-0 written all over it. I think it was a clip from his video which someone clipped up, and I thought, wow, because Guy Whitney was saying on Radio Solent when I was in the car, saying that Schmidt will on Sunday would have saved that and that sort of stuff. I thought, oh, maybe it sounds like it's quite a soft goal then. And then when I saw that angle, I thought, oh no,
it's really poor.
Yeah,
it's one of them where it's like, how have you made all them saves, even the one in the first half, as well as the Sunday ones, and let that in? But that's football, I suppose.
Yeah, and I suppose that sums up, doesn't it? Sunday to yesterday, I suppose. The whole team performance.
That was a Will Norris goal, that wasn't it?
It was.
Getting beat at your front post.
Yeah, and just want to say one thing about Pack. That I saw a lot of there's people around me slating. I thought in the first half, because a lot of people had been saying on social media today that he slowed the game down. I thought he moved the ball relatively quickly when he had it, and I think it was mainly Paul in the first half that seemed to, when he was trying to play the ball between the lines and through the lines, that was getting caught out. Every time Pack had it, it looked like he was moving it relatively quickly and going to to a Pompey player.
I think the problem is, and I've spoken to you both about it. Is, for me, I know Pack's had some really good games at centre back, but when he's bad, he's bad. I would just rather not have him there. Does that make sense? I thought once we switched Ogilvy in and put Bramall left back, for me, if the Swedish lad, I can't remember his name, isn't ready still, which I'd imagine they're probably looking to get him ready after the international break.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Then that's how I would start Saturday. I would have Ogilvy along with Paul with Bramall left back.
Yeah, because that left side, Bramall, and if it can work, because obviously it's just because you've got two very pacey players, stuff like that, sometimes it doesn't work. And obviously the game yesterday is when Bramall come on is going to be a lot different to when we play Preston on Saturday, because we know that Plymouth were just going to sit in at 2-0 and stuff like that. So Bramall probably had a bit more license to get forward, where against Preston on Saturday, that might not be the case if he starts. So it might look different, but I think he's earned a chance to start.
Yeah, because again, I thought he'd come on and done well.
Every time he's come on. A lot of the time he's come on when we're winning. This time he came on when we were losing, which I think is the first time.
Yeah.
Because he's been a lot of that kind of coming on as a left winger, but almost as a left wing back, just to provide some extra cover to help Ogilvy for when the teams kind of come at us to try and get another one, especially the Leeds game. And it was different, but obviously we then went to kind of like a 4-2-4 because Omani came on. Potts went off for Omani. O'Sheath dropped back into a 2, and we went into like a 4-2-4. Omani had a free header, which he definitely should have at least got on target and probably scored.
Yeah, trust me, the angle I was at again, it was harder to miss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a really poor header.
He's
It
either
was.
taken his eye off it or he's just not committed himself properly to it. And I do you know what? If yesterday was the game after the Oxford game, I think
He scores that.
I think he scores that because he'll be confident, he'll be ready to go. I think that little break, like that injury, like because he was feeling unwell, wasn't he? Like missed the next game, and I think that little break there might have just sort of affected him a little bit in that sort of way. But I felt that was, I thought that was a turning point.
The chance come around because of Bramall was able to, like for me, what we really struggle when Murphy, like Luton away, when Murphy's not on it, we seem to really struggle.
Mm.
And it is crossing, his set plays were shocking. Even the goal we got because of a really poor free kick.
Yeah.
But Bramall, that ball for O'Connell, for Omani was from Bramall. And
yeah, great ball.
He's definitely got a left foot on him.
Mm. Yeah, and he's going to be technically good. He's come through the Arsenal academy, so I know he's got a lot of stick from Rotherham fans and stuff like that, and them telling them like, they'll drive him down here. But to come through the Arsenal academy, I know you can maybe say his ease wasn't exactly like sort of great for us, but he's got to have something about him, and he's played a decent amount of football in League One and the Championship. So I'm glad we've given him an opportunity, and I mean, he might go on to do nothing for the rest of the season. We don't know, but it looks positive at the moment.
Thing is, though, he's coming across that he's doing everything he can to make sure he gets another deal.
Mm.
I mean, he's really buzzing every time he posts something on Twitter. He just sounds like he's the happiest man in the world.
and that's a good thing about rather having someone with just a half a season contract than it is having someone with just half a season loan, because with a loan they know they're going to go back. Look, and I've loved our loans, majority of our loans anyway. I thought they've really been at it, so I'm not saying they're fobbing anything off because they're not, but when you've got a player that's playing for a contract, they don't know where they're going to be next season. You'd like to think you're going to get everything out of him, and then if we do then sign him again next season, that he continues that because we've given him that opportunity.
I don't see us signing him again, only because we've got Ogilvy and Farrell under contract for another 2 years each.
But I suppose it depends on who else we bring on that left-hand side, because obviously we're going to probably, I hope Murphy goes nowhere. So if we stay up, then you're then trying to get a different left winger in that's happy to play second fiddle to Murphy, and I think Bramall might be a good option, like because he'll be there, so that's you can maybe concentrate on other parts of the pitch rather than that left side.
Potentially.
Maybe.
The other thing I was going to say about you talking about loans was the fact that Rob Atkinson said that he moved his family down.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Do you think that is with a slight incline that he might want to stay and is looking for a permanent move?
I'm not being funny. Why would you do that unless you're not?
Yeah. Because obviously he said he's got a really young family, and so I don't know how young is. I think he said he's got a little girl, so that might have been obviously easier if it's just like a baby or like 1 or 2 years old, where they're obviously not at like a set like nursery school sort of thing, isn't it? So it's easy for him to move down and stuff like that. And because he's obviously he's been at Oxford for years and Bristol, so it's not like he's moving somewhere completely foreign. I don't know exactly where he's moved, whether it's near Portsmouth or in Portsmouth. I'd like to hope that is a good sign for next season, but it's one of those things where you don't want to get yourself wound up and overthink it, because if it just turns out that he was just doing it because he's a good guy and he wants to be a good professional, it'll be quite frustrating.
Because currently we already have 3 left-footed centre-halves under contract.
Mm.
Towler won't be there next season.
McIntyre, Towler and Bowat.
I don't think McIntyre will be. McIntyre apparently played centre mid the other day.
And he's played left wing as well.
Jesus.
Stick him in goal.
Trying to be like Devlin, that's why.
Yeah. No one can be like Tez. Kind of before we're kind of finishing up on the Plymouth game. Obviously, we had that chance where O'Shea's it was a really poor free kick, as Russ said, from Murphy, and that kind of summed it up. But it was a nice bit of quality from O'Shea's to put it into the top corner. And then we got the 11 minutes added on, and you think, here we go, we can. It kind of gave us that lifeline, and we thought we can do this.
Well, the first 3 or 4 minutes, I generally thought it was a given, because they panicked.
Coming, yeah.
And then, but they just started to just play the ref, didn't they? There was one moment that really fucked me off, and I've watched it back since, and they were shielding off Gordon, who, by the way, shout out, are 2 bits I've seen of him. He looks better than what Norwich fans said. Anyway.
Yeah, I thought he was all right as well.
I think he starts on Saturday for Richie.
Possibly, yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to that. He looks like he's got something about him. The Plymouth player was shielding the ball, putting his arms all around Gordon, wouldn't let him get near it. Gordon then used his strength to get round the player. The Plymouth player just threw himself on the floor, and then the ref gave him a free kick. And the difference is, I know there were some moments in that Leeds game where it was a bit baffling, especially towards the end. I thought overall the ref was solid. I thought he reffed the game really well. He didn't make it about him. And I was a bit worried about that before the game, especially being on ITV as well. You know what refs can be like.
And a Prem ref coming down to the champ as well.
And I thought he just let the game flow. He wasn't, he didn't notice the ref that much, did you?
No.
Whereas, last night, he was forcing players to be exactly, the foul was exactly there, move the ball back. And it was just painful to watch. And that didn't help either. And again, not excusing, we weren't good enough. But, I just felt like it was one of them games where he just gave everything to the away team just to give them the hand. I mean,
and the problem
they'll do the exact same thing as what we just done, and yet it's a free kick to them.
Yeah, and that's it. The problem is that because we allowed Plymouth to be able to play that game, and then we allowed the referee to be able to make those decisions because of how we, not how we approached the game, but how the game went, because we weren't good enough in certain aspects of the game. It allowed Plymouth to be able to do that sort of stuff. And as you said, like when you said where they were taking free kicks from and where we were taking ours from, I noticed a couple of times he pushed us back to like take a throw in somewhere, and then he would allow them to steal some yards. And that, like, keeper, like, and fair play to him, when it's your keeper, you love it, don't you? But like as soon as they went down to 10 men, he sat down. I think he went down twice, didn't he? Injured.
Yeah. I don't mind that, because we would do the same.
Yeah, but as soon as they went down to 10 men, he was straight on the floor, wasn't he? It was like, because what he's trying to do? He's trying to kill the momentum, let like everyone get in and sort of get organised and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it was just very frustrating night all around, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah, and I think especially once they went down to 10, and it was a definite red card. I don't think I saw any Plymouth player complain.
But even then, he took forever to get off the pitch, didn't he?
Yeah, he's just being a knob.
A few of the players grabbed him, didn't they? Were like trying to drag him off.
Yeah, Swanson, and then he turned around and was like trying to fight him. It was just like he was trying to, at that point, probably trying to get a reaction out of someone to try and then even it up again.
Try to do a Joey Barton, wasn't he?
No one can be as much of a cunt as Joey Barton.
I had this conversation with my other half today, and I was like, do you know what? I know a lot of people like him and he does do things, but I actually quite not like him, but I rather a person like that and a player like that who's not gonna like sort of hide anything. They show you who they are, and they just give it the big one, and they want to. I'd rather that than someone who like.
I would agree with that with the likes of people like Roy Keane and Vinnie Jones, but when he's done things like put a cigarette in a player's eye and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I've
no
listened to
chance
some
for
of the
that.
stories and lining up to that sort of stuff, and like, no, obviously things like that are not on that, but some of the other stories you hear from him, and then like about him, and then you hear what he had to say about it, and it's like, well, you never know what's true and what's not because you're literally just deciding to believe one stranger over another. But one more thing that annoyed me, especially when it went into extra time, because it messed up my OCD and stuff like that, was when the obviously went into extra time, added on time, so we had 11 minutes, and I think we were like 3 or 4 minutes into it, and the clock went to 0:00.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I don't know, because what I do, I'm off the back of the Fratton end. When it gets into added on time, if it's like 5 minutes, at 2 minutes, especially if I'm nervous, I'll go down towards more the front of the stand so I could quickly use the toilet, and then I come back out, and then I time it because like I try to take my mind off it. And when that clock went to 0:00, I was like, well, I'm done now. Like I can't. Like
You'll do wet yourself.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to do now. I was just running. I came down. I went to the toilet, came out of one place, stood there, and I thought, oh no, I've got to go to the next one. And I ran round, and stood up on the next one, sat in someone else's seat, then got up and then down. Oh yeah, I was like, yeah, useless.
Last question, because I've just noticed we've been like at least half an hour on this game. Do you think there was any complacency in Pompey in the players thinking, well, we just beat Leeds, we don't need to do as well or try as hard, and the fact
possibly.
that we beat Leeds and we're basically there, so we don't really need to try as much?
Possibly, but I just think I've been trying to think of it all with the bigger picture. The bigger picture is, if you'd said before the Leeds game, the next 2 games you get 3 points, you'd be happy with that.
Yeah. Wrong way around, isn't it?
Yeah, if we'd lost to Leeds and beaten Plymouth, we are 7 points clear. In my honest opinion, we only need 2 wins. I know mathematically we need 3. I still think that's very doable. I can't see us not getting 2 wins at the moment. I'd be concerned more if you were an Oxford or a Cardiff fan than us. I still think Plymouth would definitely be there. I honestly think it's probably more between, I think, Stoke down to Luton.
I think Luton might pull out of it. I think Derby and Plymouth will go. But I think Luton might somehow be able to.
Well, they should
pull out.
We
Which
said
means,
that when Andrew Moon was on, didn't we? That they're the ones that could also just click with the players they've got.
Yeah,
and I think Cardiff are in trouble.
Yeah, I do.
They're massively looking over their shoulders, and I think they'll probably be the team that go down.
Yeah. So obviously, saying about the, do you think the players were complacent and stuff like that? Like, because obviously I think it was Harry. I think you replied to me on our WhatsApp group saying about happy that it's the same starting 11, and obviously it's hindsight, isn't it, and things like that. Like maybe we could have freshened it up a little bit. Maybe that might have helped.
Well, Plymouth did, didn't they? They rested a few against Sheffield Wednesday.
If he had rested them and we'd lost, he would have got shit for doing that. So I don't think he could have won, really.
No.
I also think that it's kind of like, look, you've only got Preston and you've got 2 weeks off. If you can't fucking get over it, then you shouldn't be a professional footballer.
But it's back to the 3 game weeks where we've seemed to have struggled.
Yeah,
it's when we've gone Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, or this time Sunday, Wednesday, and then if we don't get something away, which is a nice segue to Preston, then it's another 3 game week where we just don't turn up.
So what did you boys predict for the Leeds game and the Plymouth game by any chance?
So yeah, that's what I was going to go to. So I've updated. We didn't go through it after Luton game. We all got 0. Back to that. The Leeds game, Rush, you got 2 points because you got Bishops to scorer.
Yep.
Me and Daz got 0, and then we all got 0 for Plymouth.
No one got O'Sheesh then, though.
No,
no, not for that game.
I can't remember what I said for Preston.
We'll go back to that. I'll come to that in a minute. So the table is now myself bottom on 24, Daz second on 25, and Russ has pulled ahead onto 32.
Jesus.
So, Preston, I'll start with the referee. We have another Premier League referee, Tony Harrington. He's one of the Select One group. He's only refereed 3 Championship games this year. The rest have been Premier League. He has only refed 1 Portsmouth game previously in his career, which was the 2012-13 season. Our 1-1 draw away to Doncaster.
How old is he?
I don't know.
Because that's a long time
He must
ago.
be. How old is he? I don't know. It doesn't say.
It's a long time ago. Fair play to him.
Yeah. Can you name who scored for us that day?
What game was it? Sorry.
Donny away, 2012-13 season.
Wow.
Well, we scored 4 away, didn't we, that season?
Well, it was 1-1.
Oh, was it not the 4-3 mad, like,
No.
were they like 3-2 with about a minute to go or something like that?
It finished 1-1.
Joe Ward?
No.
Because that, like...
What season was it?
12-13.
Oh,
Yeah.
12-13.
So that was League One, wasn't it? Was that?
Yeah. Doncaster. Jeb Wallace.
It was.
Yeah.
So we've gotten it again. It's another experienced referee. So hopefully, I mean, Preston aren't exactly in great form. They've only won 1 in the last 5, and that was against Burnley, and that was the FA Cup. Last time out, they drew 1-1 away to Sunderland, which isn't a bad result.
No.
But it's a mix, kind of. They're just
Mid-table team.
They're your mid-table team, aren't they? That's where they always are. Them, Swansea, Bristol City.
Bristol City are 7th at the moment. Charges towards the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think if we'd have won last night, we could have been that as well.
Mate, I'm not even joking. If we had beaten Plymouth, I would have been looking at it.
Oh, behave yourself.
No,
we would have been above Preston, though.
Well, I was actually just talking about being a mid-table team. I wasn't going pushing for the playoffs this year.
No, I was looking at playoffs, mate. We'd only been like, was it 11 points beyond?
Why not?
9 games to go. Why not?
As S Club 7 say, reach for the stars.
Exactly.
So, do we want to? I will read our predictions.
I'm happy with mine. I've looked back on mine. I'm happy to keep mine.
You're happy to keep it, yeah? So, Rush, you went for a 1-1 draw with Ogilvy to score.
Correct. Yep.
Daz, you went for a Desmond with Murphy to score.
Yeah, I'm happy.
And I went for a Desmond as well with Isaac Hayden to score.
Yeah, I'm happy with.
We're keeping,
mine.
yeah.
Yeah, because I think for us.
Do you want to keep Isaac Hayden just in case you don't start?
No, you 2 have kept it. I'll keep it as well.
Okay, fair enough. You might come on to school.
Yeah,
you never know.
That's it. I think for us, it's just. I think it's important. Like, I mean, last night for me was important. We didn't lose. I think it's even more important now on Saturday. If we can go there and get a draw and a half-decent one at that with a half-decent performance, just gives us the international break. We might then be an extra point clearer from the bottom 3. You just don't want to go into the international break even shorter on points, do you, really? So
that's it. If we can go in with a draw that takes them to 43.
Well, you think you got Plymouth versus Derby, so
yeah,
hopefully they get a draw. Although, as I said, I honestly am not really looking at it at the moment. I'd be worried if all suddenly we go on a 4 or 5 game without a win or something.
Yeah, I think it's important for us just to make sure we accumulate the points we need.
Exactly. It's all in our hands, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, that's it. We're 7 clear, so it's all in our hands.
Yeah. So yeah, we got Plymouth Derby. Hopefully they draw. Swansea ain't out of it really, are they? They got Burnley away, Hull away to West Brom, but they seem to do better against the bigger teams.
Even QPR have got Leeds as well, so they're not out of it either.
Yeah. But I say, QPR can't buy a win, can they?
No, they've lost 4 on the bounce.
Who's Cardiff got then? Oh, they're away to Blackburn.
I think we're safe, but I still think QPR down. You can still look over tentatively, thinking this could go wrong, but I don't think it will. I think it's probably from Hull down, really.
I would actually say Stoke. I think Hull will be all right. I think they've shown enough they'll be all right. They're only -8 goal difference as well. That's massive.
Yeah, that's true.
I honestly think Stoke downwards, I would be more worried than us from Hull upwards, put it that way.
Right, let's move on from the chit-chat of whatever the fuck that was last night. Now it is time for Haz versus Daz.
Yeah. So this week, boys, we're doing the 1% club, but not exactly how it's done on the telly. It's basically we're going to do 10 questions. Starts off easy, gets hard. You get a point for the easier, second point for the next, 3 points, and then if you get the 1%, you get 10 points. All right.
Nice.
There's no on the show. If you get one wrong, you're out. None of that. You can still answer every question. First to buzz in, you get the points. If you get it wrong, it's open to the other player.
All right. Lovely.
Yeah, with me?
Yeah. Sweet.
Right. So, hang on. Let's quickly have a look at the current score between you two. So, at the moment, it's Daz 10, has 8.
Jeez.
He's closing that gap, boys.
Yeah, close.
Right. So, the first one is the 90% question. How many teams get promoted from the championship?
Haz.
Yep.
3.
Oh,
Correct.
Oh, we have to call it like that. I thought it was one each. Right.
No. I said you got to call it.
Right.
So that has 1 point. So Daz 0 points. Right. Next one is for 2 points. It's the 80% question. If I can get my phone working properly. Who has won the most World Cups?
Daz.
Yep.
Brazil.
Correct. For 2 points.
There was a bit too long of a gap for that, I think.
What, a second?
He was allowed to compose himself.
Yeah, I've got asthma, so I just have to get my breath. Sorry.
So for the 70% question for 3 points, who won the first World Cup?
Daz.
Yep.
Uruguay.
Correct. So that's now taking it. Has won. Daz 5. 4 points. 60% question. What club did Manchester United sign Ronaldo from in 2003?
Daz.
That was Haz, wasn't it?
Was it?
That was me, yeah?
Yep.
Sporting Lisbon.
Correct. For 4 points. So that is now 5-all. How quickly it can change. 50% question for 5 points. Who is the all-time World Cup top goal scorer?
Daz.
Haz.
That was Daz.
Closer.
Correct. 10-5 to Daz. Next question. 40% for 6 points. Who has scored the most own goals in the Premier League?
Haz.
Yep.
Richard Dunn.
Correct.
We've had that question before, haven't we, I think?
I think so.
Possibly. I couldn't remember. I thought I'll just chuck it in anyway. So it's now Haz 11, Daz 10.
What the fuck?
30% question for 7 points. Who scored 2 penalties in an FA Cup final for Manchester United in the 1990s?
Daz.
Yep.
Eric Cantona.
Correct.
Yes. Against Chelsea, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, it would have been, yeah, correct.
4-1, I think that was.
Daz 17, has 11. 20% question. FC Cologne have which animal on their club crest?
Oh, shit. I know, I can see it, but I just don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's what I think it's called.
This is for 8 points.
So do you say if one of us gets it wrong, the other one gets to answer it afterwards?
Yeah. So.
Fuck it. Daz.
Yeah.
Is it a goat?
It is a goat.
You bastard.
The thing is, I just didn't know if that was the actual word for, because you know you get loads of different words for kind of animals. I just didn't want to make sure that was right or not.
Right. So 10% question for 9 points. What links the clubs Charlton Athletic, Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Northampton? If you've got that pen and paper in your hand, you might want to write the clubs down. That's the only clue I'm giving.
So Charlton.
Charlton Athletic, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Northampton Town. What links these 4 clubs? Take your time. You might want to edit out on Spotify, though.
Charlton Athletic, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Northampton Town. Wow, what links them? That is toughy. Just trying to feel the silence. Wow. Just trying to think of this. No, I don't think that's it. I'm going to give it a go. Daz.
Yep.
I don't know whether it is a player or not, but is it John J. Shelby?
No.
Oh, bollocks.
Haz, the floor is yours. Take your time.
Jesus Christ. I don't have anything, I don't think.
It's tough on this. Don't know why I said John J. Shelby, to be fair. I don't know why I got that.
I don't think he ever played for Aston Villa. I don't know about the others.
Oh, I was thinking of Newcastle, I think. Fuck.
It doesn't have to be a player.
No.
Anything. It could be anything that links them.
None of them are as good as Fratton Park.
Is that your answer?
Yeah, because
I might have to give that to you. No, I ain't joking. Right. The reason why I got you to write them down, look at the names. That's the clue. The first one, the buzzing, gets the points. Just look at the names.
Look at the names.
So, as long as you've written them down exactly what I've said. Charlton Athletic, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Northampton Town.
Jesus. That doesn't help anything.
What the fuck, man? Did you come up with this, Russ, or have you found this somewhere?
This was actually on the 1% Club.
Oh, wow.
Wow. No, man. Jeez.
Can we have a clue?
Well, the clue is it's to do with the team names. That's all I can say.
Charlton
Athletic, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Northampton Town, yeah?
Yeah, and you've written that out. You haven't just put Charlton, you haven't just put Northampton, yeah?
No, I've written it down.
Right, look at the names of the clubs.
I fucking am.
That's all I've been doing for the past 10 minutes. Wow. Look at the names. See, now I'm looking too much at the names now.
Are they all related to another sport?
No, the answer is it will be within the names of the team, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to say it without giving it away.
Within the names of the team.
They've all got an... No.
That's more along the right lines by trying to link the name, like they've all, so on and so forth.
thought I was onto something then, but I don't think I am.
I'll give you 1 more minute.
I think you could give us 1 more hour. I think we'll still be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to just call it now, just to avoid the silence.
Yeah.
Right. So they all start and end with the same letter. Charlton Athletic starts
fucking
with
hell.
a C, ends with a C. Liverpool begins with an L, ends with an L. Aston Villa begins with an A, ends in an A. Northampton Town begins with an N and ends in an N.
I was looking at words within that you could make it like because I saw like Charlton Athletics. I thought athletics, and then with Liverpool you had Pool. So I thought maybe
I did
like,
exactly the same.
It's kind of linked to like sort of sport or like.
It's one of them where once you see it, you think, how did I not see it?
Yeah.
I like it. Right. 1% question. Bit more simpler in terms of at least you'd have to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
If your team gets a free kick and kick it backwards to the goalkeeper and the ball goes in the net, what decision is given to the opposing team?
Shit.
Yeah, go on.
It's a corner.
Oh well, I only learned that today.
I've seen that as well. That popped up on. That was on one, but on that channel, wasn't it? Fuck.
Well done, Haz. So the final scores: Haz, you had 21, but Daz, you had 25.
Wow. I thought Hazard won that. To be fair.
So that now takes the overall scores to Haz 8, Daz 11.
Yeah.
He's increasing it again.
But at least Spurs are 2-0 up now, Haz. So.
Oh, yes.
That's the main thing.
Indeed it is.
And then the better thing is the next segment.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Harry's Who Am I? Let's get my own segment right. Jesus Christ.
Who are you? Who are you?
Because I'm watching the replays of the Spurs goals. Right. To cheer Raz and Das up. Obviously, this week we were going to have David Norris. Unfortunately, he got he couldn't make it this week, so we've got him another week instead.
Next week.
But to next week, in fact, that's right. So to cheer them up, I thought I'd do 2 players on Who Am I. So, are you ready for your first one?
Yep. Always.
So, would you like? I'll let you choose which player you get first. So, A or B, Daz.
B.
Okay. I played for 4 teams that played in the English football pyramid.
You repeat that. What?
I played for 4 teams that play in the English football pyramid.
I mean, that could be.
So with the pyramid, it can be literally anyone then, couldn't it?
Oh.
4 teams. Not a lot, really, is it?
No. Actually,
does that include loans? I suppose it would if it's just played. It's not signed,
it was only 4 teams, so it's not like he's just played for 4. It's only 4 teams in the pyramid. So we're saying, yeah?
I played for 4 teams that play in the English football pyramid.
Yeah. It could be abroad as well, though.
Yeah.
Right, this could be anyone, so move on.
Should we guess quick? Random one?
Trying to think someone who hasn't really been played much. Like, he's more of a one-man team.
I'm going to go Andy Alford.
Oh, wait. Get my thing up again, didn't I? Jesus Christ.
That's what she said.
Jesus Christ, Daz.
Fitzroy Simpson. Yeah.
Right. Clue number 2. I played with Darren Anderson, Quincy Owusu-Abeyi, and Wayne Routledge, but not at Pompey.
That's a Spurs player then.
Could
Oh no, Quincy Wusu-Bay didn't play for Spurs, did he? He played. Did he play for Arsenal? Quincy Wusu-Bay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
So he could have played for Arsenal. He could have played for Spurs.
That to be so. This has to be a late Darren Anderton, like part of his career. He did go to Bournemouth. To be
I was
fair,
about to say Bournemouth was someone's thinking.
his last, wasn't it? Quincy Wusu-Bay, Darren Anderton, and who was the other one?
Quincy Wusu-Bay could have been in the
Wayne Routledge.
Wayne Routledge.
Quincy Wusu-Bay could have been in the youth setup at Arsenal, couldn't it?
Could have been, yeah.
Because I think, yeah.
Wayne Routledge. So who's he played for? Spurs.
Palace.
The Palace?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it
was
came
Palace,
through the Palace.
Yeah.
He went from Palace to Spurs, then to us, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was only on loan though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where did he go after Spurs?
Because he came in the January, didn't he, I think?
Yeah. Where did he go after Spurs? Did he go like Leeds? Did he play for Leeds?
Fulham?
Fulham could be.
I think he's played for Fulham.
Are we just trying to name as many teams as possible?
Just trying to get a scope of where people have been and see what players link. Sure, he went for them. I'm sure he played for. He went to Swansea. When he was there a long time at Swansea, wasn't he?
He played for Swansea in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I'm sure he was at Newcastle as well at one point. That's the only clubs I can remember. Quincy Wusu-Bay's career, though. Did he go to like Russia? I only really remember him for Arsenal and us.
Yeah, especially over here.
Have a guess, boys.
Sol Campbell.
I'm going to go with Ahmed Traore.
Not bad shot.
Clue number 3. I signed for Pompey on an initial 1-month deal, but agreed to stay until the end of the season before leaving on a free transfer.
1-month deal.
Would that be a player from the 12-13 season?
Don't know.
Which I think that would tie in with maybe Darren Anderton.
Oh, Jesus.
Signed initially for a month, did you say, yeah?
Yeah, on an initial month deal, but then stayed until the end of the season.
That's got to be someone for the 12-13 season, because that's the only time we sign players like that. When we were only allowed to sign them for a month, weren't we? Or
yeah.
Short period of time, and then they stayed for the whole season.
So 12-13, that was we were in League One for one season, weren't we? Got relegated straight away.
Yeah.
I think he plays in there. Got George Giepes? George Giepes, one of them?
Yeah, I was thinking because I know that Quincy Wusu-Bay was in Russia at some point. Maybe was he? Not a bad shout.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Giepes, I think Giepes, or whatever you say, centre back.
Gabor Giepes, I think it was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, go with that.
So what are we going for his full name, please?
Oh God, Jesus! I'm sure it's something like Gabor Giepes.
Yeah, Gabor Giepes, something. Wait.
Oh, nice one.
Well done. Gabor Giepes, so, Hungarian centre-half.
So did he play with Quincy Wusu-Bay outside of Europe, I'm assuming?
I don't even know. I can't remember. I don't make note of where they played him with. I just find where they played with him, not at Pompey, and note it down. I don't know where they did it.
All right.
I probably should, just so you know.
Yeah,
There we go.
I'll have to Google that.
When Haz asked for the actual pronunciation of his first name, I thought, I think we might have got this.
It's only because you said George to start off with.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's not getting that.
Yeah, because he wouldn't give it to us the other week.
Oh,
when we got
yeah.
it right.
Right. Second player. Clue number 1. I made 379 appearances, scoring 49 goals in my career.
379. I don't know why the 79 would make. I don't know why. It's about just under 400 appearances. And how many goals? For 40 odd, wasn't it?
49.
Sounds like a midfielder record,
I'd
doesn't it?
say, yeah. Unless it's a goal scoring centre back, but.
We had many goal scoring centre backs.
Well, because if you think about it, say on average, just say that's roughly around 10 seasons, maybe. Is that 10 seasons? Say like 30 games average.
Yeah.
Just say average 30 games, like obviously taking in consideration injuries and stuff like that. That's 300. So maybe about 12 seasons.
So you scored about 5 goals a season. So I suppose that could be a defender if it's a goal scoring defender.
But yeah.
Kit Simons, he scored a few, didn't he?
My first captain, that.
Harry?
Is that a guess?
Yeah. Harry?
Sorry, I realised I was muted.
Harry?
Right.
Harry? I will go with. I'll go with a midfielder, I think, and I'll go with Bjorn Christensen.
Bjorn Christensen.
Proper winger, mate. Bjorn Christensen.
Clue number 2. I played with Charlie Daniels, Dion Burton, and Joe Pigott, but not at Pompey.
Right. So Charlie Daniels is probably easier one, like, because he's only played, 3 clubs?
Yeah, who was the other player? Joe Pigott and...
Dion Burton.
Dion fucking Burton.
Gave me one of the best days of my life. Way at Huddersfield.
Yeah.
It's Dion Burton. He's played for a fair few, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. You're looking at...
Derby, us.
I think he's played for people like Walsall.
Yeah.
I think I remember him at Sheffield Wednesday. I think I remember him at Gillingham. God, loads of clubs.
So Charlie Daniels, he's been at what? Bournemouth, Shrewsbury. Is it Shrewsbury? Yeah, it's Shrewsbury, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure he's at Shrewsbury.
Has anyone else he's played for?
I don't think he's played for many clubs.
Unless he's played for a team before Bournemouth, I'm not sure.
Who did they? No, because he didn't come through their academy, did he? Because didn't he come through Spurs' academy?
Yeah, I think he did. Because I think
did he go straight to Bournemouth? No, wasn't he at Leyton Orient?
Might have been.
So let's just say Leyton Orient, Bournemouth, Shrewsbury, us. Were we his last club, or was there another?
No, I think it was Shrewsbury after us, wasn't it?
No, we got him from Shrewsbury, didn't we?
Of course we did, yeah, because he was there for half a season, wasn't he? We got him in the January. And who was the other player? Sorry, Haz? Dion Burton, Charlie Daniels, and who?
Joe Pigott.
Joe Pigott.
Didn't he for Leyton Orient?
Joe Pigott's Leyton Orient.
Was he Wimbledon? He's back there as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he was, yeah.
Wimbledon? Obviously Ipswich recently. No, he went later. Didn't he go Leyton Orient when Jekyll was there?
Yeah. Jesus.
Just question 1, I can't remember.
This is 2.
2.
Yeah, 2, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was the goals in it. So I reckon it must be a midfielder that's played with them 3. I honestly couldn't call it. Midfielder that's played for 3 clubs.
I'm just going to have a guess. Andy Barcham.
Oh, hang on.
What? Jesus.
Shut up with it.
That is correct. It is Andy Barcham.
How many fucking Hail Marys have we done on this first?
I know. Because I was thinking, Andy Barcham, I was thinking, because obviously he was at Wimbledon, so I thought he would have played with Joe Piggott. What were the other two? Dion Burton, that was I didn't even link that to him. But Charlie Daniels was when you said like Spurs or something like that, like I thought maybe he's played in the Spurs Academy or stuff like that. I don't know. It was like around. He was at
the Spurs Academy, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a guess also, but it was like sort of the dots were very far away, but I tried to connect them.
The only one I can't link him with is Dion Burton.
Could that be in Walsall?
I am just looking now to try and find it.
Could that be? I think could that have been in Walsall? I don't know. Again, I don't know.
He also played with Charlie Daniels on loan at Gillingham because they went on loan together.
What, from Spurs?
Yeah.
When did they play with? When did Barcham play with Dion Burton?
Yeah. Could that have been it? I'm trying to think how old Andy Barcham is.
He's retired now.
Could that have been at Derby back in the day? No.
You tossers.
What?
All right, thanks very much.
Oh,
cheers.
No, sorry, AZ have scored.
No, it's not. No, he's just using that as an excuse so he can throw some insults to us. Oh no, sorry lads, I was talking about the other game. Yeah, you bunch of pair of twats. Oh, I mean, sorry. Yeah, sorry. No, not you.
I'm gonna have to Google this. When did Dion Burton and Andy Barcham play?
I'm trying to find it.
Come on, Quizmaster man. Yes, trying to think who it could have been for.
Charlton?
Ooh.
No, Andy Barcham didn't play for Charlton.
Gillingham? No, the wrong year. I need to see both at the same time.
But Derby? No, Derby wouldn't have been with it.
No, but so Barcham played Leyton Orient on loan, Gillingham on loan. Oh, but then he did sign officially for Gillingham.
It was at Scunthorpe.
Fuck, Jesus, Scunthorpe.
13-14 season.
Mate, I think that might be the all-time Hail Mary of Hail Marys.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who the other Hail Mary was. We literally just jokingly said the player, and it was right. Oh, it was Drew Talbot, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But I think that one was even more. That was just so like. When you said Andy
I don't even know how you got that one. That was ridiculous.
Just plucked it. As I said, the dots and the lines were very faint. Like, so I'm not going to sit here and go, oh yeah, I just worked that one out, boys.
Because I think with Drew Talbot, we at least worked out it was a right or left back. With this, we didn't have a clue.
No. I was just trying to think of midfielders that probably didn't score a hatful of goals. And I actually quite liked Andy Barcham when he was with us. Like, I liked him.
It was sad when he left and then got promoted with Wimbledon straight away.
Because he was a proper winger. Do you mean the sort of fast, get your head down, run it?
It was exciting.
Yeah, and so I thought he was decent. Like, but I just obviously, unfortunately, in those few years for us, I don't think any player, well, most players can come and do a job, could they? Really?
Not really.
Not great environment for them to like sort of. They might look good individually, but not as a team.
They couldn't handle the pressure.
No,
and a lot of them have admitted that as well. You know, they were used to playing for smaller clubs. You know, smaller crowds. You know, he goes to Wimbledon and does really well there. Fans loved him. We got promoted with him doing.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You can't get players from higher divisions because we couldn't afford to pay them the wages. And if we did bring any players down, they had to be like a player towards the end of their career that's happy to take a pay cut and stuff like that. So I mean, again, that's no one's fault. It's like, well, actually, it's our fucking previous owners that absolutely fucked us and put us in that position. But the club at the time could only do what they could do, and obviously players can only do what they can do at the time, can't they? So,
yeah.
Right. So that is that. Lads, do we have any other business?
Regan Paul signed a new contract.
woo.
Who's that? Oh, just one of our best centre-halves we've had in about 100 years.
Yeah.
Yes, Regan Paul signed a new 2-year contract until 2027 with a club option of an extra year. So that would make,
That's,
I think
that's massive, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
That
It's
really
crazy.
is such a, especially I think it kind of shows, it works both ways because obviously after his massive injury last season, we kind of didn't really get to see too much. When he started off, we had a championship centre-half at the beginning of the season until he went off versus Chesterfield. And obviously we didn't see him again. But to come back after, like, what do you have, like 10 months in the end, really, wasn't it? In total.
This must be the most players we've re-signed on contracts.
It's a massive shift. It's a massive shift by the club because for so many years we've waited until the end of the season in the summer when the season's done. And we lost out on players like Christian Burgess, for example. He was waiting for an offer from Pompey, but never got it, and had an offer from Union Saint-Gilloise and went to Belgium and never looked back. He's playing in the Europa League for the 3rd season in a row, I think it is now.
Yeah.
He's played at Anfield. He's played at the Bernabeu. I mean, it's worked out for him, but at the time he wanted to stay, but Pompey didn't offer him a contract.
And the thing is,
Well, I think we did offer him a contract, didn't we? We just
but it was not before it was too late.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not an easy thing to be handing out new contracts during a season because I think Andrew Moon said it, that if you're going to go handing out certain contracts to certain players, you've got the other players and their agents potentially come and knock on the door. Obviously, I don't know if that's the case for any of these players here, but you have to be careful with that because once you've signed one, you've got to understand that there could be potentially 2 or 3 more players and their agents coming to the door saying, why am I not getting a new contract? I've done this, I've done that.
But I think that, yeah, of course. But I think that's the 3 players that they have signed down in the last 3 weeks are probably the players that were most needed to get tied down.
Yeah.
So if it was not those 3, then you would have those 3 knocking at your door saying, excuse me, what the fuck are you doing? But they were the 3 that needed tying down as soon as possible because Devlin is still an up-and-coming youngster coming through at only 21. Bishop has scored 20-odd goals 2 seasons in a row in League One. And he scored, 6 goals now?
6 so far,
so far, and he missed half a season through having heart surgery. And all you got to do is look at the stats Sky put up before Leeds of how many points per games we get. Now he's returned. It was 0.6 before he was here, before he came in, and then now it's 1.4.
Yeah.
You can see what impact. So he's a championship. You're going to have people looking at him. And then again, Regan Paul, since he's come back from injury, obviously he got re-injured, but he's come back and every game he's getting better and better, and we're getting that original Regan Paul we had, who again is another championship centre-half. So you're tying them down to long-term contracts, which is exactly what's needed. And also it just covers the club for if an offer was to come in, if someone came in with 5 million for one of those players, you might take it. But we've said before, the next player's probably got to be Andre DazHarry.
Yeah.
As we said, whether it's the club option that we've got or whether I'll try and negotiate maybe a 2-year, the same as Regan Paul, probably a 2-year with a club option.
Yeah.
He's only 25, the same age as Paul. He's coming through. He's coming into his prime years, and if you can get him, you think of how well he's done now. He's going to still get better, and if he's in a sustained place and not kind of moving about again, because we're his 3rd club in a year, because obviously he was at QPR, then he went to Birmingham, then he's come here. So if he could have a home as such, he's only going to build on it and develop. So I think DazHarry's probably a really key signing to get done, and I would be surprised if we got to the other side of the international break without, maybe, I would hope DazHarry, but without another contract renewal in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if Swanson doesn't get a new one, or maybe another year for him, DazHarry, and then you get to the summer, because you're tying down players for longer. But also we can't have every summer, we can't have a turnover of what we did again, because you'll never be able to build anything. We had a massive turnover before we won League One, because Messino was clearing out the signings that Cowley had. Then last season again, we had a big clear out. We had a big change. We had 9 leave, and I think 11 or 12 come in, or the other way around. Again, ready for the Championship. But now we're staying up. You've got to be able to have a bit more of a steady ship, and you're probably looking at 4 or 5 leaving, with 4 or 5 coming in to add to it, rather than kind of stripping it back. And you'd probably look at Towler, Paul will probably go, Bramall will probably go, Ben Killip will probably go, unless he wants to stay around as a third choice keeper again. I don't know. But that's 4 straight off the back that are out of contract in the summer that might go, or Towler and McIntyre aren't, but they'll be gone. So it's all about freeing up some wages, and then if you can go and get another right winger, I think is probably the first position I'd look at, because Matt Ritchie is going to be another year older. He'll be 36 next season.
A right winger and a striker is probably number one target.
But again, it depends if you take Yengi's option up.
No, I wouldn't.
No?
No.
Interesting. But again, it all depends on that, right? Because if you don't, then you're down to you've got Waddingham and Bishop, so you've only got 2 strikers then, because obviously Omani will go back and Yengi's out of contract. So then, yeah, you would need another striker.
Would you keep Yengi?
Jury's out. He came on against Leeds and he just looked fucking lazy.
The thing is, I think with Yengi, like, I just don't think we've seen anything that like gives us any hope at the moment. But that's the thing with Yengi, like, I think he can, but I just think he needs to get a couple of things right. And have I seen that? Obviously, he might be getting called up for the Australian side. I don't know if he has or not, but I think isn't there talk of a lot of people saying, well, Yengi, if he wants to stay at Pompey, he kind of really needs to stay and not go, because he we know what happened last time he went on an international break and he was out for God knows how long. Like, this will for me sort of make me see where his head's at.
Yeah, for sure.
I
would rather he stays. Yes.
All right, chill out. You might stay, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's like 6 of one, half dozen the other. Like, because if he did go to Australia, as long as he didn't get injured, he'd get minutes under his belt, and then you think he might come back and be ready to go after the international.
I just don't think you can chart. You can't.
It. You can't. But you know what I mean, that could get him his minutes. But on the other hand, he could go there and get injured and then be out for the rest of the season, and then he would be in a sticky situation because. So is his contract ended up at the end of this season?
Yeah.
Yes, but we have a club option.
Right. So it's for him now. It's not down to him, but the decisions he makes in the next week or two might.
I believe so. According to, I know we asked Moon and he wasn't 100% sure on DazHarry if he had an option or not, but he does believe there's something, doesn't he?
Yeah, on the players' end, wasn't it? He said it might be.
So I believe Swanson has a year as well option. I think, and so they're the ones who really, obviously we've got Bramall as well. You know, I'd probably sign him just because he can play left or left back, left wing or left back. Sort of handy to have around, really, some players like
that. And he's also got a good amount of games to prove it as well.
Yeah. Swanson, I definitely would sign up because I just think I like Swanson. I think he needs to work on his positioning a bit better, but there's a lot of potential in him still. I know he's 24 now. How much potential, he would be turning to Jesse Lingard soon. I mean,
it's difficult, isn't it?
But he's definitely someone I think you could even sign up and still sell in the summer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think letting him go for nothing would be silly. I'd rather either get another year out of him or sell him. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But with Yengi, it's a bit like the same thing with McIntyre. I don't see anything. A bit like what you said, Daz. I'm sure it was you. It might be ReviewHaz, actually. There's nothing that we've seen to suggest that he can do it at this level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing yet. But that's the thing, because because I'm trying to think of how many games he started before or played in before he went off. Because obviously Preston was pretty much his last start, wasn't it? Because then Bishop was back, and I thought, and I think we said it in the Preston game. He looked alright, but I think that's because, as we said, that Bishop was coming back, so he's kind of got to be at it. So maybe he needs that competition, of proper competition. I know we got O'Mahony and players like that, but he needs to be up against Bishop, and maybe he just hasn't been around long enough while Bishop's been back in the side to compete. I don't know.
So he started 4 out of 5 games in a short period of time. Cardiff, Sheffield Wednesday, Hull, Plymouth, Preston. And if I remember right, he was just a lazy fuck in all 5 games.
Apart from Preston, where he actually tried because he knew Bishop was back.
Yeah. But,
and that's the thing. It might not be like, I think because obviously I'm guilty of it as well, as throwing like the lazy tag around and stuff like that in certain games. That sometimes it could be something else that's affecting. Because who was it that sort of like, I think it was Scully, wasn't it, at the start of last season, where he was meant to be the starting winger with White, and he didn't look at it at all. And then you found out he was carrying a knock and carrying an injury, which put him out for the rest of the season. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something else there with Yengi, because after last season, people were. I wasn't one of these people, because it was always Bishop for me, but people were sort of trying to make out as if Yengi would be our starting number 9 in the Championship. So that Yengi from last season and this Yengi from this season, I don't think it's just the step up. I think there's something else behind it, and I think maybe he just was lacking confidence because he didn't start the season. Because you never know, if he played the first game of the season away at Leeds and had a good game, that might have kicked his career off in the Championship.
Or maybe he's just found his level. He's a good League One player, and that's it. I mean, there's not much more to it.
Well, that's it. If you look at Adam Armstrong for Scummers, isn't it? Like, he scores all these goals in the Championship, then he goes to Premier League, can't hit barn door, but he's just not good enough. And he comes back down the Championship with West Brom, and he's scoring again. Some players are just, and don't be wrong, I'd love to be a Championship striker. Do you know what I mean? It's not like saying he's crap or anything like that, but as you said, some people just find their levels. Some players aren't Premier League players, they're Championship players.
He's 26, so he's not like playing. Well, let's give him a bit longer, and he's.
Yeah.
For me, if he's shown at least some promise, for me, he's shown none this season.
Yeah.
No glimpse at all. You think Leeds coming on with that atmosphere? I thought he was going to come on and leg at players and make it hard, and he didn't.
It was that part where it was that he was just kind of waltzing back on side, whereas if he'd actually got back, he was in. He was in. He was 1-on-1 with Melier.
Yeah,
and that was just like, come on, mate, you've just come on. If he'd played the whole game, I could kind of understand.
Yeah, I remember that actually, because that's obviously that was right towards the end of the game, wasn't it? Because that's where I went down to the front of the stand, and I remember when that happened, and turned around, just some random bloke behind me. I was like, we both looked at each other and went, if he'd just got onside, if he'd like ran back onside, he would have been in. And then, because it was at that point in the game where it's last minutes, and you got teams like Leeds, like we obviously saw what Leeds did Sheffield United away, where they scored 2 really late goals. And it's like, if they can do that to Sheffield United, they can do that to us. So the more we can put this game to bed, better. I think, yeah, Yengi's obviously another one with a few others where he's got to do something in these last 9 games if he gets the opportunity, because if he doesn't, then
don't get me wrong. If we re-sign him, I wouldn't be angry. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, what a terrible decision" or anything like that. But it would be your third choice for me. We still got to get another striker.
Yeah.
Because if we go, say something happens to Bishop again, not even heart related, well, if he breaks his leg, you know what I mean? We need someone who can step in, and I don't know if he can do that.
No.
Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
So, I think that's about it for tonight. Thank you to those who joined us. Next week we have our rescheduled very special guest, Sir David Norris. We will be talking to him about his time at Pompey. We might mention a certain goal. Did he score a decent goal for us?
Yeah, scoring a decent one against Barnsley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. It was that goal. So we will be talking to David Norris about his time at Pompey, what he's up to now after retirement. And we're looking forward to having him on. So join us again next Thursday evening at 8:00. And safe travels to all those going to Preston. And boys, have a lovely week. I will speak to you next week.